The Navigating Disability podcast often discusses topics including disability, injury, mental health, and mentions of sensitive issues such as trauma and suicide. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care while listening. Welcome back to Navigating Disability, where we highlight stories of resilience and breaking barriers. Today, we're joined by Eamon Wood, athlete, engineer, adventurer, author, entrepreneur, and proud dad. What a list. After a car accident at 4 left him with paraplegia, Eamon went on to represent New Zealand in wheelchair basketball and tennis, becoming the first Kiwi to play pro wheelchair basketball in Europe. He's also the founder of Nudge Assist, and author of A Backpack, a Chair, and a Beard, showing what's possible with resilience and determination. We're thrilled to have him here. Let's dive in. Welcome, Eamon.
Thank you for having me, Kate and Jen. Welcome back. Excited to be here.
What a story. Athlete, engineer, adventurer, author, entrepreneur, and proud dad. Tell me a little bit about, do you remember a time when you weren't in a wheelchair? So up to 4 before the accident. Do you remember that time?
Not a lot, but I do have some memories. For example, I remember learning how to ride a bike without training wheels. I think there's a photo of me doing it when I was 3, a big BMX sort of pedal bike. And I remember being yelled at because I was crying, so I kept falling over at different at different times. So I remember that. I had flashes of like the car crash, but no, not too much. I guess yeah, I was 4 when it happened. So yeah.
Tell us about the moment that changed your life.
Well, yeah, the the car crash obviously was one of those moments. But as a kid, I think like I didn't spend much time thinking about it until I was older. Like you just as a kid, you just get on with it. You're very adaptable. So yeah, my car accident, like you say, happened when I was 4. It was in New Zealand. Mum fell asleep at the wheel, and I was wearing one of those old lap belts that cars used to have when you're sitting in the middle. Um, and yeah, I just remember getting out of the car, standing up, and then falling back down, and then that's that. And then I spent my 5th birthday in hospital, uh, and I've been using a wheelchair ever since. Married to it. Me and the chair go everywhere.
And how was your mum and dad after everything? How did they cope with everything from the
Um,
accident?
I feel like I was pretty lucky in the way that they gave me a life that I was very independent. I
Yep.
got to do, I figure everything out myself. Um, but now having kids of my own, I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm not sure if you have young kids or if your kids are growing up, but uh, yeah, I mean, it for sure would have affected them. Uh,
Yeah.
Mum was an alcoholic, and I'm sure coming off the alcohol wasn't a possibility after putting your kid in a wheelchair, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but physically they were okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mum had a sprained ankle or something.
Pretty catastrophic event for any
Mm.
parent to know that they've caused these injuries, lifelong injuries to their child.
Yeah.
How did, and you said it before about um, at 4, you don't know any different. You just get on
Mm.
and do it, and this is your new normal, this is your new life. When did it actually hit you that you were different?
I guess school was definitely a moment that I realized it was different. That moment where you're trying to fit in with your peers, find your find your tribe and your group. And I missed the first part of school because I was in hospital. So in New Zealand, you start school when you're 5, usually on your 5th birthday. So I missed it, and I started when I was 6. Um, and then it really sank in. I talk about it, and you would have read it in the book about this moment on my 10th birthday, sitting in the middle of the New Zealand bush. We had a house bus, um, and I had this little cake in front of me, and I just made this wish. I made a wish to walk, and I had done that for every year since my accident. But on that 10th birthday was really when it started to sink in that wishing wasn't going to work. And that was when I had to find other ways to thrive. So I think that was when I really started to sink in, that this was going to be me for the rest of my
And
time.
how did that make you feel in that moment when you had that realization at 10?
I think it was a kind of a relief almost, because I even at 10, wishing isn't really going to work. And so I knew after that, I was going to find ways to adapt, and I was just going to take everything on and accept the disability, I guess.
Do you think up until that point there was a little bit of hope that you would get your movement back?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, definitely. I even past that point when I realized that I was going to be in a chair for the rest of my life. Like I would periodically throughout my life stare at my toes and sort of wish them to wiggle. And I still randomly do it now. I don't know why. Just, you know. But yeah, I think that was it. Yeah.
Was there ever a time that you felt like giving up?
Giving up? Not because I was in a chair, I don't think. I don't think there was any moment that I felt like giving up because of my disability. Just normal teenage, it would have been exacerbated me being in a chair. But no, just normal self-esteem, things like that as a teenager. And then you make it through and you realize you're not going to die. There's a whole big world. People love you. You can make friends. You've got your whole life, and it actually becomes really exciting. But no, I don't. Not because of the disability.
So did you go through any periods of self-doubt?
Self-doubt. Yeah, like I say, probably the teens, a young person.
And I mean, navigating that just on its own is hard enough, isn't it?
Yeah,
The teenage years.
And it was a different time too. So I talked to people. So I've been in a chair rolling around for 30 years now. And how people interacted with people with disabilities was a lot different. It wasn't even that long ago, I don't think. 15 years, maybe even 10 years. So schooling and things looked a lot different. And, you really, and that's part of the reason why I've done a lot of these achievements. I think as in the beginning, you had to prove your worth to be included in society, whereas now it's less so. But yeah.
Yeah, and with all your achievements and things, because you've had a lot, from what I've read, people that are feeling stuck with their disability, do you have any advice for them?
I think you mentioned it earlier, a connection, just finding connections with people. Like one of the best things that came from studying just like wheelchair sport was finding a community, seeing that people were having kids and having a normal life, jobs, had friends, were partying, making mistakes, traveling, and you can really learn from that. And there's always someone that's doing it harder than you, I think. And so when you're surrounded with lots of different people with different abilities, you kind of realize how lucky you are to have even the smallest amount of function compared to maybe someone else.
What were your school years like with in terms of other students and growing up and being different?
Yeah, I guess school, I moved around. We had a very transient family. I think I counted it up when I was in my 20s, and I think I was before high school, I'd lived in like 40 different places.
Wow.
Oh, that's
phenomenal,
really.
Yeah, 10 or 11 different primary schools. So my school years were very fragmented. And I'm quite introverted and a little bit shy, and when you're in a wheelchair you can't really you can't blend in. Like you have to put yourself out there, and you have to,
Yeah.
otherwise you're not going to have any friends. Or so the school years I found really tough. By the end of it, you realize school is awesome. You get to have lunch with your friends, and um, you just get to hang out all day, and you do your schoolwork. And but yeah, for the most part, I think I struggled a little bit with school, finding my place.
Yeah. And who do you feel who's been your greatest support?
Uh yeah, well, it'd be friends now.
Just friends?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
friends.
so when I got to high school, I stayed at the same high school, and they're my lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And then just everyone's kind of done their part, and that's the beauty of connections.
Mm.
You get to see all these people do the things you want to do and support you when things are tough. Um, so I also had someone sort of take me in when I was 14. I didn't want to change high schools, and my parents let me stay in a city while they moved to another city. And so Karen looked after me, and I stayed there in one place for the whole of high school. And that was pretty a pivotal moment, I guess, of being stuck in one place.
Yeah. And you can build more connection and stability
Yeah,
when you're in
yeah,
the one place. So
absolutely.
that would have been amazing for you.
When did you move to Australia?
We moved last year in July.
Oh, so you're a
Yeah,
newbie.
yeah, still fresh. Yeah, still got the thick accent. But we lived in Adelaide for a little bit as well. And then from there, me and my partner Erica lived in Germany. And then COVID happened, and we flew back to New Zealand, did a lot. I did what a lot of people did, and we bought a house and then had babies because we needed something to do. um, and then yeah, we came to Sydney last year just to see if the grass was greener. And I started up Nudge and doing sport. And our youngest Darcy was 3 months when we moved over. So we
So
just
you've got babies.
yeah. We're in the thick of it at the moment. 1 and 3 years old. So
Oh God, that was a
um,
lifetime away for me.
how old are your kids, Jen?
I've got an 18-year-old, a 14-year-old, and an 11-year-old. All
Oh,
boys.
yeah,
All
all
boys.
boys.
So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I'd do with a girl, but that's another story.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I'd probably be the same with boys now. Yeah,
There's a couple of things I want to go back to, Eamon, and that is you're an engineer. So you've been to uni, which is amazing. How did you need any accommodations for that, and what were they?
yeah. So the way I did it was an apprenticeship, which is similar to, well, you have apprenticeships here.
Yeah.
So I did work, and then all the academic stuff was done through like a TAFE or Polytech. So that took me 3 years, and definitely, for example, there's a scaffolding part of the engineering, which they ticked me off. Obviously, I didn't climb the scaffolding or anything. They just made me do the course and watch other people do it. So that was awesome. They let me finish it. Obviously, some parts of it weren't going to be relevant to me. So when I'm an engineer, it's fabrication, working with metal, welding, yeah, things like that.
So you didn't find any real issues with being included or accommodations being made to help you to succeed.
Yeah, definitely there was things that had to be problem solved at the time. So as far as I'm aware, they hadn't had anyone in a chair do the course, do like the engineering apprenticeship. So it was new to them. But what I loved, and I guess this is because New Zealand's small and they can do this type of thing, they kind of just said, "Yep, we'll do it and we'll figure it out." And so, for example, to use some of the lathes, I would use a standing wheelchair, so it would stand me up, so I can get at a working height and get close to the machinery. But they were really good, like at problem solving with me, and I'm sure there were lots of different little things, but that was the gist of it, is that they said yes and figured it out with me.
And what that really shows me is that where there's a will, there's a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people would just say, no, you're in a wheelchair, you can't do it. But what you're saying is actually, no, yeah, I'm in a wheelchair, but let's work out how I can do it. Have you found that throughout your life?
No, not always. It comes down to what people are willing to do and educating them. And like I say, the times have changed a bit. For example, when I first went to go try and find a job, like I was basically a burden. And if I was going to get a job, it was a favor to, like, it was them doing a piece of charity.
Being seen to do the right thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think as long as people are willing to give it a go, and like I say, it's about educating people, and I think people should just talk to people more with disabilities, because the person with a disability, as you know, after talking to lots of people and your experience there, everyone with a disability is different. So you may have the exact same disability, but they may have different needs, different techniques to live, different goals. And really the only way you're going to find out is by talking to people. And as long as people are willing to do that, yeah.
And I think sorry, Kate, I think that's one of the issues right across the board is we lack communication, clear communication. Ask the question.
Yeah.
That it's as simple as that, clear communication. And I think, in this day and age, you think we'd get better at it, but there's some that are lacking. So hopefully that,
yeah.
Yeah,
and it's really not about, like, my whole mission with Nudge and I guess personal mission is to raise up people not just with disabilities. I don't want to segregate or become a thing that people have to do or tick a box. I'm not here to force people to feel a certain way or say certain things. I'm just encouraging people to come in and talk to me. And the more you talk to me or people with disabilities, you realize how similar everyone is. And all my wants and needs are the same. All my pain points are pretty similar. So
look, you're more than a disability, right?
Yeah.
You're a human being. You have we all bleed red at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got to look beyond the disability because, we've all got something to offer in life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to discuss with you, Eamon, is for the younger people that are watching, the teens that may be in your situation, one of the questions that I'm sure they'd have is, how did you navigate dating and getting married and finding that special person? I'm sorry, you did mention her name and I can't remember it now.
Erica. Yep.
Erica. Is she able-bodied? Is she?
Yep. She's able-bodied.
How did you navigate all of that?
Just getting out there. Like, you've just got to get out there, put yourself. It's a little bit more uncomfortable because it's, especially if you've got a physical disability that's really obvious, and a lot of things, like me and Erica met on Tinder. So, and I think a lot of people's love stories are probably going to be on the apps now.
It's more and more.
Yeah, and so it can be really easy, especially when someone doesn't have to talk to the person. They got a picture of me in a wheelchair, they can just swipe, or they can just say no, and there's no repercussions. You don't get to have to know. So
you were open and said, I'm in a wheelchair.
Absolutely, yeah. Because otherwise, I think I had done it when online dating had first come out, when it was on the web, and it was just super. It was even more uncomfortable, and it felt like a trick, like I was tricking someone.
Because you don't know what you're getting into, and you turn up, and they would just be like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And then it's more awkward for everybody.
Yeah.
What do they call it? Catfishing? Is that what they call it? Yeah. I'm showing my age now. Catfishing.
Yeah. And so I would say you have to get a little bit more used to rejection, maybe. Not in a real obvious way. But really you've just got to get out there and do it. Inaction is a lot more harmful than taking action and failing. Like, that's my biggest fear is inaction. Um, and so, yeah, for people that are dating, you've just got to go out there, have these awkward conversations, and be authentic. And the best thing about having a disability actually is quite often um, you end up meeting people that are quite genuine from the start. Uh, but yeah, just get out there, live life, and you live it the way you want to live it, and people will come to you, I think.
So what landed you playing basketball?
So I was always into sports. I started quite young, and that was part of the disability and finding something to focus on and having a drive and finding my community. And then so I went. I think I was 12 or 13, or I was quite young, and I went along to a basketball training, just a local training, and then I kind of just loved it and kept going. So I've been playing for 20 plus years now, and still playing for the New Zealand Roller Blacks, playing for one of the state teams, Manly Wheel Eagles here in Sydney. Yeah, just loved it. Loved the fitness. You know, health is in the head is linked with your physical health, and I think sport really helped me with that.
Yeah, it is a good thing, a good outlet,
Yeah.
sport. Yeah.
What about having children? How has that affected your life from a disability perspective? Were you ever concerned that not that you couldn't do it, but that you couldn't look after them properly, or how did you navigate that?
Well, firstly, I was very surprised I could have children because I'd been in a chair um, since I was 5. Like I went through puberty, and I don't quite work the same as a regular guy does. So we had to do IVF for both our kids. And the Ida, who was our firstborn, happened first time, and then the second one was a bit more of a journey, which a lot of people that do IVF probably have something similar to say. So first of all, I was very surprised I could have kids, to be honest. Like,
Did you want kids?
yeah. By the time like I was 32 or 33, so by that point, you know what you want to do, and I think I was always keen to improve on my upbringing, as most parents are. Um, and yeah, by 32, I knew I wanted to have kids, have something bigger than myself to think about. And in terms of, was I worried with my disability and kids? No, because I had seen, because I was mixed around in the community, I knew lots of people in cheers, people that are in power cheers, people that I've got kids. So I'd seen all types of people with kids. And so I knew for sure I could have kids. Um, and I wasn't too worried about much else. I think as long as I was present as a parent, and I could outsource the things I couldn't do, like if I wanted to go, if they wanted to go tramping, then I outsource it to one of my tramping friends or something like that. Yeah, so
Has there been any, I'm going to use the word backlash, and that is the wrong word to use, on your children for having a parent in a wheelchair? Oh, I suppose they're too young,
The
really.
little bubbers.
yeah, they're too young at the moment. Um, but it's always funny, like kids, especially young kids, no, even older kids, they just love people in chairs. They'll come up, I'll go into the day here, or the preschool, and they all come up to me asking me questions or telling me about their family member who's in a chair, or their gran, or their
That's what we love, the innocent.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
where it's stereotypes, society's sort of people that haven't been introduced to disability that have their own misgivings, I suppose, and they put it onto children. So children are so sweet and innocent.
yeah.
They just want to talk.
Yeah, I love interacting with the kids, and I honestly wish more adults took down their barrier and weren't scared of being.
Yeah.
I maybe even more now. Maybe people are scared to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So
it's coming from
what
a
advice would you give the adults out there? Because, kids are full of innocence and, they're led by grown-ups. Let's be honest. What would be your best advice to adults out there in the big wide world? To be more accepting or just, be more communicative?
Yeah, I'd say just don't worry about the words. Just speak from where you're trying to speak from.
Yep.
And then unless the person is going through their injury or their disability currently and they're working through it, which they may do, and there's nothing you can't know that. But as long as they aren't, then you just go up, ask questions. And sometimes actually going up to people that are working through their disability, it also be good. But I think as long as it's coming from a genuine place, I couldn't care less about what type of word was being used. So I'd encourage people to come up and ask the hardest questions they can ask me, if it was me. And that's the only way you're going to get real inclusion and how these two circles of society are going to start overlapping is getting an understanding of each other's perspective.
Yeah.
I do have a question, and it's not the purpose of the podcast, but coming from New Zealand, are you entitled to NDIS?
Once I become a citizen, I think so. Once I've been living here for 4 years, I think that's roughly right.
How do you?
Yes, I'm not covered by anything here.
Yeah, so how do you survive? And it's not just a matter of you're working, that's great or fantastic, but it's the assistive technology, it's the wheelchairs, it's the support, everyday support, as you said, for stuff you can't do for your children. How do you manage that?
So I am still covered by ACC, which is because I had an accident in New Zealand. But I don't get anything supported while I'm here. I have to fly back to New Zealand if I want equipment and things like that. So I can get it. And also the benefit of running my own assistive tech company is I can order things in at wholesale prices and things like that. But basically there is no support and I have to rely on people to try and either secondhand or hook me up with pricing. For example, I've got to get my van modified and, that's a lot of money, but the company has offered to put in some hand controls at a discounted rate for some of their new equipment. So it's just.
That's who you know.
Yeah, it's who you know, yeah. And I just have to buy my supplies like my catheters and stuff. I buy that personally online.
Yeah. So it really is a cost implication to you. Would you get that if you were back in New Zealand?
Yes, on New Zealand, because I'm ACC, they'll cover quite a lot. So they buy me a car, they modify my house, they buy all my consumables, my AT equipment and things like that. If you are born with a disability, then it's a bit tougher. So that's what I like about the NDIS is that everyone under 65 is covered. But I'm navigating it myself and things are slow and it's not ideal for people that fall outside of the NDIS bracket.
And that's what we're hearing all the time at the moment with people that are being removed from the scheme and foundational supports haven't been set up. They're falling through the cracks. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard to navigate the system if you're not savvy. Yeah.
And that's really sad because a lot of our participants have an intellectual impairment and they can't navigate it. So it's a real catch-22.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to navigate it, you don't get it.
That's right.
I've already seen that.
Have someone in your corner backing you.
Yeah.
You're really left to what people want to offer you, which is very difficult.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kate. What's one of the most valuable lessons you've learned living with your disability that you think may be useful for other people in the community?
I think the world has opened up for me a lot to do with how I was brought up and with being given a blank slate and figuring everything out myself. And so I've learned a lot of independence and I think that's opened the world up a lot for me. and to be understanding of people. And if someone doesn't understand, it's not helpful to get upset, it's not helpful, I don't think. I mean, if you want to educate people, you've got to do it in a way that they understand, in the regards to disability. But yeah, the biggest lesson I think I learned is to do with independence, somewhere in between the old way of thinking of harden up and she'll be right, and the new way of where there's a piece of assistive tech for everything you want to do. I think there's somewhere in the middle that's quite nice, where you can do both worlds.
Yeah.
And to really make the most of these available out there. Tell us a little bit about what you've set up yourself, your company.
Oh, my company, Nudge. So basically Nudge is a company that supplies assistive tech, so specializing in the bathroom space, so shower commodes, and also manual wheelchairs and sports wheelchairs. And really I'm at that higher end where someone might need something customized. And I really love that because I get to go out and I meet people, some people with new spinal injuries, some people that have been living with a disability for their whole life for a long time. And it's nice. I get to chat through what their goal, what they're trying to do in life, and hopefully the equipment I can supply can make things a little bit easier.
And it's really almost a catch-20. It's almost not a catch-22. It's a twofold benefit. One is, here you are in a wheelchair and have been in a wheelchair for 30 years, coming out and showing someone what their life can be like, as well as we have all this assistive technology that can assist you. So it's almost like a double.
Yeah, and I think one of the big drives as well for Nudge, and there's sort of three things I talk about with Nudge, but basically things in the industry cost a lot of money. And especially if you have to pay for it yourself, and not always can that price come down, but value can be added in other ways. So really with Nudge, I talk about innovation. So for the price things I want to make sure that people are getting innovative products, and then efficiency, how long things take and how much they cost, maximizing, communication times, delivery times, and then authenticity, which is a big one for the company, which is operating out of a place of transparency, and care. So maximizing compassion and just doing everything that I do and the company does with care.
Can I ask you how you came up with the name Nudge? Is there anything specific around it?
Yeah, nothing specific. No? I just had someone help me with the branding, and you get a list of names, and I just wanted something.
Well, there you go. They nudged you in the right direction.
And there were all these health tech names, and there were a couple of playful names. And at the end of the day, I just picked something that was easy to remember and say, and so that's where it's come from.
What are your as we start to wrap up? What are your hopes for the future with the disability community?
I would love to see the inclusion keep happening, and driving that in a way that everyone gets raised up. I think that would be awesome. I think society where everyone is included, whether you have a disability or an ethnicity.
How do we achieve that?
I think communication is a big one. Just communicating, creating systems that allow that kind of growth and communication, and especially with technologies coming in, that makes all these organizations that can share information better. Hopefully that can open up some more room for compassion, and sort of bring everyone in to an even sort of playing field.
Yeah. I like to say it's all about kindness.
Yeah.
Just be kind. I've got 3 boys myself, a bit younger than hers, and I just keep telling them, whatever comes out of your mouth, make sure it's kind. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And it's It's easier to do.
It's
Yeah.
so simple.
Yeah. I
You
find
don't
that
get any trouble.
yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. And it's not easy to always do. I've got a toddler. So yeah, you have to remind yourself.
Well, I can definitely say enjoy the ride
Yeah.
because it's an interesting one, but
Yeah,
you
thank
know,
you.
as parents, we wouldn't have it any other way.
No,
They're
exactly.
absolutely amazing. So I just, with the world as it is, I hope it does get better with inclusion and things like that. So your children can see that dad is accepted right across the
Yeah.
board, because it's important to show that kindness for everyone.
Yeah,
It's so
absolutely.
important.
What does the future hold for Eamon Wood?
Well, my big uh um I want to make sure that I'm doing things that are exciting and doing it with balance. Obviously, having young kids, I've got all these big goals, but also making sure that there's a balance of life in there. Um, and I think just add my part, whether it's with Nudge or personally or sharing the book, um, just trying to add more than I take, I think is the goal. And the future, yeah, just keep growing Nudge and trying to help as many people as possible. Watch
Any
my
more
kids.
kids?
Oh, well,
I
originally,
want to know.
yeah, we laugh because when before kids, I was like, yeah, let's have 4 kids. I want a big family. But now 2 seems to be a good number.
We're not outnumbered yet.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
all our listeners out there, Eamon does have a book. I don't know if you can see
There
it.
we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
A backpack, a chair, and a beard. We will have the links to all of it and also to you, Eamon, as well, if people want to reach out and discuss anything with you. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for today. It's been wonderful speaking with you, and we will keep in touch.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Eamon.